If game nights are a multiple course meal, dessert is definitely one of the most important parts of it. Hello, welcome to the Board Avengers. I'm Nelson from Nelson All Over, and a couple of videos ago we talked about the idea of putting out dessert games. So the thought of building a menu of a tabletop game night and what games you would slot into each one of those spots, and we were kind of talking about dessert games. So I decided to team up with the board game critic McKay, and we are going to talk about what our favorite dessert game is. The dessert game is the game that is going to finish off the night. It's not going to be the heavy game. It's going to be the game that you may have a couple of minutes or maybe a half hour to finish out before it is time to go home. And games in this genre are going to be ones that are going to be excellent at filling that time, making it easy to come in and out of, and then also being fairly relaxed so that you can provide, an environment where people can reflect on what games they've already played that night. So I teamed up with McKay, the board critic, to discuss and talk about what our two favorite dessert games are. I'm going to go first. I'm going to talk about mine, then we'll pass it over to McKay and see what he has to say. So my favorite dessert game of all time is The Crew, The Quest for Planet 9. So The Crew is a cooperative trick-taking game designed by Thomas Singh and published by Cosmos. This game is it is definitely going to be the most value for time spent in my collection. I've played over 50 hours of this game, and I probably spent $20 to $25 on it. I can't quite remember. But like I said, it's a cooperative trick-taking game where everybody around the table is given objectives that they are trying to obtain to complete the mission. There are 50 different missions in the core game. There's an expansion that adds, or not an expansion, it's a standalone game, but it kind of ups the complexity a little bit. While that is still nice, the original Crew, The Quest for Planet 9, is my favorite of the two, but there are 50 missions and they all alter the game in some way. So it may be this player needs to win the pink 4 while this player cannot win a trick. And you have to figure out how to optimally play through the cards in your hand so that the players at the table with objectives, and as you get to higher and higher levels, every player is going to have objectives, how to play those cards optimally so that you can together successfully complete every single objective on the table, thus granting you a victory and moving into the next stage. The complexities and the metagame that people build while playing this game are just really fun and really exciting to dive into. It's a good dessert game because you can sit down and you can play one mission, which will take 4 minutes maybe, or you can play as long as you want. I've played 3. I think my maximum time was 3 hours in one sitting, which that was a lot of the Crew. That was a lot of the Crew. But you can vary it because you're going on these short, succinct missions. You can make it so that we'll play until we run out of time, and it makes for very discrete stopping points, which is great to end the night off at. So if you have 10 minutes or if you have 45 minutes, the Crew is going to fit into that time and allow you to play cooperatively, relaxed, and reflect on what the night has already been. So that is my pick, is The Crew, The Quest for Planet 9. Let's pass it over to McKay and see what he has to say.
Hey you guys, Board Game Critic here, and Nelson, that is a fantastic question. While there were several games that I thought of, once I thought of Timeline, I knew that was my choice. Timeline is so easy to teach. It's literally about a 30-second, minute max if there are questions teach, and it's just so fast to play. It's generally 10 to 15 minutes. So while there is a little bit of thinking, it's fun thinking. So in Timeline, you're trying to place your 5 events into the timeline in their correct position. If you guess wrong, then you have to draw another card. So it's literally the first player to be able to place any 5 events on the timeline. The game is dynamic and shifts as the timeline gets longer and the gaps get shorter and shorter. It gets more and more difficult to place your final cards. There's a nice suspenseful game curve to it, and in the end, it's just fantastic. A quick word, Timeline has changed over the years. While it used to be done in these little tins, Now they are in plastic circles. I will be honest, these are so much better. They're just better organized. They sit on your shelf better. They feel better. It doesn't feel like you're pulling out a dinky card game that you got in your Happy Meal. These are better. So if you see Timeline in these metal tins, they're still around, snag them because they're no longer printed like this. They're done in condensed versions and there aren't near as many. This one is music and cinema. We have here Americana, which is more American pop culture. There's American history. There's historical events that covers European and British history. There are also a couple that I don't have with me here because I lent them to our neighbors. Science and discovery and inventions as well. So, like I said, if you see them, grab them. They're generally around $10, but these versions that are the better versions are gonna get hard to find. So, snag them if you get a chance. That is my dessert game of choice.
Alrighty, thanks McKay for talking about your favorite dessert game. If you are watching this video, please let us know what your favorite dessert game is in the comments. We are always interested in checking out more games, especially in this kind of genre, because there are so many games that can fit into a short, discrete timeline that allows you to play multiple times or as few as one depending on the time allocated. So I'm really excited to hear what you all have. If you did like this video, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for weekly videos every Tuesday. Thanks for hanging out and we will talk to you soon. Peace.